Welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident podcast. It is a weekly chat about socially conscious topics impacting the culture. Great to be here again with another solo episode for you, and we will get started right after this.
Justice for you and me. Justice for Mike Brown.
No justice, no peace.
After the death that shook the entire country, I decided to step up as a community activist and create a global podcast, Woke by Accident. Here, I amplify compelling news stories and matters impacting African Americans and their communities. My goal is to give a voice to the voiceless and have the difficult conversations needed to advance relations and matters of race. Tune in to Woke by Accident podcast. I am your host, Jen, and it is streaming on all of your favorite streaming platforms, as well as our website, www.wokebyaccident.net. Thank you for listening and take care. And welcome to another episode of Woke by Accident podcast. I am your host, Jen. Glad to be back with another solo episode for you. We apologize for the delay, but definitely glad to bring you some more interesting topics that we want to inform you of. So on this episode, we'll be talking about a case of a missing student from the University of Mississippi, Jimmy J. Lee. We have some important updates concerning the tragic police shooting death of Jayland Walker. There is a news story out of Oakland, Tennessee concerning a police incident that needs your attention concerning Brandon Calloway. And that is, again, in Oakland, Tennessee. We'll be talking about that. And lastly, we'll be talking about this petition for the anti-Black hate crime bill. It was introduced back in 2015, and it is still trying to make its way to Congress and in front of the president. And so a brief reflection on what this bill would look like and what it would do for African Americans in light of all these police matters that we have been discussing. So thank you for deciding to listen to Woke by Accident this week to discuss these topics. Let's get into these topics. So the first one is about a missing college student from the University of Mississippi, a young man, Jimmy J. Lee, who was last seen on Friday, July 8th at 5:58 a.m. So on the campus, his last seen at the campus walk at the University of Mississippi. He was well known for his role in the Oxford's LGBTQ community, and he was last seen Friday, July 8th. He was wearing a silver robe, a gold cap, and gray slippers. Now, the police think that Lee may have driven to Molly Bar Trails, which is a student apartment complex where his car was taken by a towing company that afternoon. 3 days later, they found it at a towing lot, and there's several gaps in the timeline at this time, but several members of the community, including his family, have taken part in the search for him. On Thursday, July 14th, the police officers had conducted numerous interviews and are waiting for information to be returned for search warrants as it executed on both physical and digital entities. So it looks like they definitely have some updates that they're waiting on information before they'll share and make public. There is a $5,000 reward for any information, and I do want to share. Let's see. This information will be shared on our visual episode, so we will put that in front of you at this time. Let's see. Okay, here we are. So this is the information about Jimmy Lee. The height is 5'7" and the weight is 120 pounds. Birthday August 26th. If anyone has any information, they can contact the Oxford Police at 601. Okay, so the number for the Oxford Police is 662-232-2400. And again, the young man that is missing from the University of Mississippi is Jimmy Lee, also goes by Jay Lee. So definitely I want to get this young man found and information so that his family can rest assured. Very sad case when we have any of our missing people out there. So wanted to share that with you. On to the next one about Jayland Walker. We talked about this story last time. The original incident occurred on June 27th at 12:30 a.m. in Akron, Ohio. Police officers ensued. Well, following a traffic stop with Jayland Walker and a car chase, the officers pursued him on foot and fired more than 90 rounds at Walker. The autopsy results showed that Walker's body was hit 46 times. So very tragic police shooting that we reported last time. The police have also shared that Walker was not carrying a weapon at the time that he was killed. A handgun was later found in Walker's car, and officers are reporting that a firearm had discharged during the preceding car chase. So that, we're led to believe that that was the grounds for the pursuit and why they fired at him that way. Now, the legal team representing the family of Jayland Walker is calling for the Department of Justice to replace the Bureau of Criminal Investigation, who is currently handling the matter. They're alleging that there may have been a situation where the police union compromised the case over certain discussions with the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation. So they're asking for the Department of Justice to get involved. So a lot of movement is happening with this case. So we'll definitely have more updates to share with you concerning Jayland Walker. But yeah, really tragic case with this one. Can you imagine 90 shots and you're running on foot? It's just totally overkill, just way too much. So let me pull this other story in front of you for my visual episode. Let's see. Okay, we'll go here. So our next story that we want to share is about Brandon Calloway. And this was another police incident that just recently occurred. The viral has there's a video that has been going viral capturing this particular incident, and the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is now investigating a violent arrest which occurred in Oakland, Tennessee. And so it started as a traffic stop with Brandon Calloway, where the police alleged that Brandon Calloway refused to pull over. They ended up chasing him into his home, and this is where he alleges that he was racially profiled and beaten by the police at his home in Fayette County. This incident happened on July 16th, and he failed to stop for a stop sign. He was going 32 miles per hour in a 20 miles per hour zone. The officers chased him, like I mentioned, into his father's home, and they said that he refused to stop when they initially tried to pull him over for speeding. Now, Calloway, his family describes him as a good kid who graduated from UT Chattanooga in 2021 and has never had any troubles at all, never any prior incidents with the police. And so they have obtained an attorney and are pursuing charges against the police. Looks like at the time, Brandon Calloway was said to be completing a DoorDash order at the time, and this attack occurred once he got out of the vehicle. Now, looking at a couple of different stories on this matter, and one, they asked a retired Shelby County Sheriff Captain to look at the footage and give his opinion of the matter, and he, definitely saw or took issue with the fact that Calloway didn't stop when he was pulled over. But he says the police, their actions were totally unnecessary, and called out several issues with the way that they handled the matter. One, he stated that it was unethical for them to, or even illegal rather, for them to go into the house. They did not have a warrant for them to go into his house, and here they are chasing him into the house, and then this attack occurs. So that it'll be interesting to see if those things get called out with them pursuing a lawsuit against the police that they did not have a warrant. This was supposed to be a traffic stop, and here they are, chasing him, down the street and into the house, when the issue, totally could have just issued a warrant for his arrest and went, the by the book way of how it should have been handled. So another, incident where we have like this cowboy effect, where the police feel like, I don't know if they feel like they have to, we've talked about before eliminating this threat, but in this case, he was not armed. So there was no threat there. So they totally could have, went through the proper channels, got a warrant for his arrest, and apprehended him later. And, they saw what house he was going into, the chances of him escaping and things like that were unlikely. So it could have been handled a different way. So it looks like this may be like a training issue with the police, or, because we're seeing these incidents quite a lot. So, they're filing suit in this case. So we should have some additional updates on the results of what will the outcome of this matter. Because there's, we're saying alleged attack, but the action was captured on video. So you can see him clearly being struck by the police in a very violent way, and he's bloody in the incident. I won't share that particular image with you but there are video clips online of the particular shooting, or not shooting, but the incident. Um, no one lost their life in this incident, so that was great. Um, but yeah, definitely a very violent arrest and violent attack. Want to move on and reflect back on this piece of legislation that lawmakers had started back in 2015, the anti-Black hate crime bill. Now, this was initiated in 2015, as I mentioned, when the white supremacist Dylan Roof killed 9 innocent Black people at a Charleston, South Carolina church. We all remember that case. Very tragic case where we had a gunman go into a church and, tragically ended the lives of, 9 innocent people. Very similar, and makes you think about the Buffalo shooting where we had a gunman who had, white supremacist rhetoric, um, type of mentality, and went in with this mission to take the lives of several innocent people. So, that was 2015 when that incident happened. And here we are in 2022, and we're still having other incidents like this. The incident on July 4th, we can assume that that was a hateful natured attack that was planned, and a very disturbed individual, like a domestic terrorist type of situation where he went in with a mission to take out innocent people. We're seeing these types of mass shootings. We talked about on the last episode that the Gun Violence Archive has counted at least 314 mass shootings so far just in 2022. So, a lot of those pointed at African Americans in a, anti-Black manner. So, this is a really real thing that there is a mission and a goal to, do these types of violent acts against a certain group of people, in this case, Black people. And so, would a anti-Black hate crime bill give us justice in these particular instances when large groups of people have their lives ended, in the ways that we have seen in the Buffalo shooting, in the ways that we have seen in the Charleston shooting, the July 4th incident? Would this hate crime bill give us the justice that we need? We've seen the powers of be in Congress, more specifically, pass a anti-Asian hate crime bill. We see that pass just last year. And that actually, we talked about on several episodes, that legislation got passed very quickly. So, what is the holdup, I wonder, with this? Definitely feels like there's a need for it, but would this give us the justice that we need? It feels like it would be in line and on or a proper response, I would say, for what has occurred. So there is a petition on Ben Crump's website. The website is act.bencrump.com. And then you'll find the template petition where you can add your information to get a message to Congress that we want this bill to be passed. And so, I definitely will share that along with what we've shared in this episode today, because we do need justice for so many of these cases. How many police shootings and how many mass shootings have we talked about where Black people have been the target? You know what I mean? And we just want all of our people to be safe. Definitely. So again, I appreciate everyone listening to this episode. Apologies for the delay, but we are definitely glad that you decided to listen to Woke by Accident podcast. And we just really appreciate all of the support. Definitely do this with a purpose in mind and want to share the information with you so that we can um, make a change out here in the community. So I am overjoyed, overjoyed. So with that, we will wrap it up and you guys take care.